Hey there everybody and happy 2021. This is me, Jimmy Hoppa from Import Gaming for the win, and I'm here with a simple little pickups video for the last finds of 2020, quarter 4, and a little bit of 2021 here too. I tried to make this video like 8 times and my old camera is just, the autofocus is just done. Just won't cooperate anymore. So I switched over to my phone. Hopefully it doesn't look that bad. I think it looks pretty bad myself, but let me know if it's better or worse than the usual quality. Anyway, I'm just gonna go into this and instead of talking about everything, I'm so sick and tired of saying the same things over and over again. I just cut it down to 50 of the best or more interesting finds, I guess, of the time period. Anyways, I'm just gonna start going over some MSX stuff. I didn't get much this month, or these months, but this is Youkai Yashiki from Casio. It is it's number 23 in the line of games that Casio's made for the MSX. They also made their own MSX computer systems. But these games, they were usually pretty derivative of just popular titles of the time of varying quality. Thankfully, this is one of the good ones. You play as this little boy here with his flashlight, and you have to go into a Japanese haunted manor. So Youkai Yashiki is kind of like Ghost Manor, Ghost Mansion, to save your sister. And it's really fun. It's got a really good look to it, and recording footage for this pickups video, I had a blast playing it, and I got really sucked in. It's a few years later, or maybe a couple years later, it got a Famicom disc release from Irem, which is pretty similar in gameplay, but has a different graphical style, and I think it's considered the better game. There's a Casio game for the MSX that I'd really like to do a video on, and I need to beef up my collection of Casio games before I attempt that video, but I was glad to get this one because it's caught my eye for quite a few years now. That was the cartridge right there, same size as roughly a Famicom cartridge. And here is the manual. Nothing too special, but I just love taking a look at these old manuals. Here's some of the boss characters and some of the standard enemies here. And yeah, I love having manuals. I don't buy any MSX games unless they have the manuals, and it usually makes them a little more pricey. The next thing is another MSX title. This is Fruit Search, published by Takeda, but developed by HAL Laboratories. And back in the old days, HAL would publish or develop a lot of games for old computer systems, particularly the MSX. And this is one of them. The varying quality as well, but this is before their wonderful partnership with Nintendo. And this game is like a mastermind type game. It's honestly nothing special, but I love the cover art here. It's kind of why I bought the game. But you have to guess the fruit that one of these ladies, all the different ladies in the game like, and the game kind of tells you whether you're close or whether you're right. And that's basically it. It's basically an edutainment puzzle game. And this game had tons of different releases. I think this is the best one because this cover art, look at that, it's so cute. Yeah, some of the other releases had these weird fruit kind of characters, anthropomorphic fruit characters, but like Toshiba and Sony, and I think HAL themselves published this several times, and I think it even got an English release. It's nothing special, but it's kind of cool to have this history. Yeah, that's Fruit Search. And the next game is another game with a lot of history, Nightshade, published by Dextersoft and Jalico. This is the Japanese release of a popular UK game. This was developed by the Stamper brothers, who would go on to later found Rare. It's one of the isometric action games that they made for UK PCs. I guess it would be the old ZX Spectrum would be one of them. But yeah, Nightlore was like was the first game in this kind of style, and it used a filmation technique. I guess this is an updated version of that. Really cool. You play as this knight, you go into a town, you have to kill a bunch of demons and monsters, and it's a slightly upgraded from Nightlore, which was revolutionary, and it has scrolling graphics, a little bit of color. I mean, by today's standards, it's not like a great game or anything, but back then it was amazing, and I find it very therapeutic to play. The simple manual here, and here are some of the character graphic sprites, and a map of the town, the village. And let's take a look at that cartridge as well. This is a game that is, I don't know, just in the UK computer gaming scene, this is like a true classic. But yeah, Nightshade. The Japanese games have really cool artwork. I don't think that the UK version had the same artwork. That's part of the reason why I got this as well. So the first 3 games, shallow reasons for getting them. I like the artwork. Alright, the next is a manga, not an MSX game, but based on MSX series, Ashquine, for, I guess, the Panasonic's kind of unofficial mascot for the MSX2. He would star in 3 games that Panasonic put together, and with different dev teams, and was also on a lot of their box art for their systems. And I guess they really tried to make something out of the Ashquine character. I think they're pretty good games. Not the greatest games. This is very Star Wars-esque right there. I do like the Ashquine character. This was published in Shonen Sunday Comics. It was serialized in that, and this is the Tankobon, I guess, manga collection of them. Never really went anywhere. Aside from this, I know there is a board game for Ashquine, and I guess it just didn't really take off. I got this, well, it's just kind of cool, but one day I would like to at least talk about one of the Ashquine games and the whole trilogy, if you will. And it's good to have this. They're super cheap too. Oh yeah, one thing too about this artist, what is it? Kanzaki Masaomi. This is the person who did the Street Fighter 2 manga from back in the day. And that was probably the first manga I ever owned. It got an English release in the early 90s, and I really loved the character styles, and yeah, that's quality looking art in there. Next is a more modern PC game, not quite that modern anymore since it is 2021, the current year. Tenerezza from Aquaplus, and this is one of, I guess it would be considered one of their earlier titles. This was released on the Xbox first, and then this is the PC Windows, what is that, 98 Millennium Edition, 2000 and XP Edition. I think it was released a couple months after the Xbox One. But if you've watched that Magatama video I did a long time ago, I teased doing a video on this game, and unfortunately I never got around to doing it, and when I did get the urge to do it, my Xbox died on me. So, but now that we'll see a little bit later on, I have a working Xbox it's been maintained and repaired or whatever, so I can actually do the video. So I have been picking up a lot of Tenerezza stuff, and hopefully I will do a video on that this year. It's a cute, colorful action RPG. Honestly, it's not like a really great game or anything. It's one of those that had a lot of potential and kind of just missed the mark of being a really good game. But it's cute, it's got a lot of humor, it's got some really nice graphics, kind of reminds me of Nappletale in a way. The gameplay is kind of basic, but you play as Tenerezza, this little witch in a town, and you basically help a lot of people with their problems. And I've not played through the entire game, so I don't know how deep it gets, or how if there's any sort of like real big drama, but it's very cute and very comedic. One thing that's kind of cool about this PC release is, well, there's this thing called Peace, which I guess Aquaplus, it was like a proprietary kind of mobile PC platform of theirs, and you can actually download one of the games into it. And it's kind of like, it looks like a VMU or a Pocket Station, and this is like what is it? Is it Kurohige? Whatever, that little Japanese toys where you stick all the knives in and the pirate will pop up. That's kind of cool. I wish I could find one of those PCs. That would be kind of neat to talk about. This PC edition came with a lot of these games. They came with a soundtrack. So there you go. There's Tenerezza looking real cute. So that will be very useful if I do a video. And disc 1 and disc 2. Adorable. Yeah, so hopefully, like I said, hopefully there will be a Tenerezza video coming out sometime soon. And I got a bunch of little Tenerezza memorabilia here and there just to kind of help make that video more interesting. But yeah, Aquaplus, I guess they went on, they started with, they started with Leaf, but we won't talk about that. They started with Two Heart, which was a really big like dating adventure game series here. And then I guess Utawareru Mono was pretty popular after that. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm not really big into Aquaplus. Next, Mark III. This is Outrun, port of the legendary arcade title. And yeah, it's not a bad port. For what it is, it's actually pretty good. Aside from the music, though, and I guess some of the visuals, never really been too big into Outrun. I do like this little Mark III Master System version. There's so few Mark III games here in Japan that I just pick them up whenever I can. And let's take a look at the manual here. This was super cheap. All these games are really cheap too. There are a few really expensive games, but for the most part, you can get them for like 10 to 20 bucks. This I think I paid like 14 for. Yep, very standard Sega manual from the era. Another Mark III arcade port that I got is a double the size, 2 megabit to 4 megabit Afterburner. And I always think of Terminator 2 when I see Afterburner. But there is this is another pretty decent port. I think that's actually a little bit better than Outrun. I think I enjoyed this better. I suck at the game, but for some reason the Mark III version, I can get a little bit further than I would with the arcade or other versions. This has a black cartridge, probably because it was the 4 megabit cartridge. And yeah, here's the manual. I think I paid like $7 for this, so very cheap. It's always good to beef up the collection, and a lot of these games are in, like the boxes are in really good condition. I feel like a lot of it is just dead stock, so unsold, brand new items. All right, let's take a look. Well, you know, speaking of Mark III, let's take a look at this. It's a yellowed Mark III system, and opens up here, and it's a broken controller, missing a button. Yay, that's great, right? Well, I didn't get these. I didn't buy this for these. I bought it for, put this down. I bought it for this wonderful box. So I already had a Mark III system, and I had it modified to output RGB video. And I'm very obsessive about getting boxes for everything, especially for my systems. I don't have a lot of space here, and I can't have my systems out anyway, so it's good to kind of keep them from getting dusty. But the box was in pretty good condition, a little few dings here and there, but for its age, you can take a look at the side too, in really great shape. So I got a junk Mark III, and it came with all the cable hookups, but just really wanted the box. And if you look at the inside, I've replaced the junk one with my actual RGB modded Mark III, which is a nicer shape. And I think we'll just take a look at the insert manuals. Oh, that's how you connect it with your fancy composite cables. There is I guess a little kind of registration card. And here's the user manual. And yeah, very typical standard stuff. But yep, I just have a few more systems I need to pick up boxes for, and I can die happily. I'm not sure about happily, but I can die. Next thing is a Mega Drive game, Valis SD, from I guess Nippon Telenet. Is that right? Am I wrong here? Lasersoft, but it's a Nippon Telenet game. Yeah, it's Valis, but it's SD, super deformed. I think this was released as a Cid of Valis outside of Japan, and I know I'm a pretty big fan of the Valis games. I don't think they're particularly great, but there's a certain charm to them, and I like the characters. This game is in my opinion, among the worst. It's I don't know if they made it for kids. Here's the cartridge right there, but yeah, it's very simple. I guess what you would expect from a super deformed version of an action game. But it's colorful, it's got cute graphics, and, you know, it's not bad. I've been wanting to get this for a while. Just look at this manual. I'm glad that the Mega Drive manuals had mostly all color. Yeah, not much to really say. It's very easy, and some of the bosses are a little bit tricky, but yeah, if you want a Valis game without the challenge, Valis SD. Here's one that is a little bit interesting, I think, with the history of the game. This is Magical Hat no Buttobi Tabo Daibouken, and this is based on a manga. It's an action platformer. A lot of those on the Mega Drive. Very colorful. If you need to show a game that shows off the wonderful color palette of the Genesis / Mega Drive, this is a good game to do it. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of color here. A faded spine. But this is the Japanese version that would of Decap Attack that would be adapted from this game into that game, and I guess the reason would be because this is based on like a manga series. Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's a game that is very cheap. I'll take a look at this manual. Now I bought this. I asked the seller too because they didn't have a picture of this side over here, the spine, and I said, "Oh, is it in good condition?" He's like, "Yeah," and it was not, but I don't leave negative feedback for that kind of stuff. And here you go. Here's the manual. Yeah, really fun game. I don't know, it's been a long time since I've played Decap Attack, so I don't know if I prefer that to this, but I don't know. Color is always a good thing in a 16-bit game. And the last Mega Drive title that I have here is a very simple one, Bare Knuckle 2, or Streets of Rage 2. I used to have this once upon a time, but I sold it to a friend. This one has a nice colored spine. Great wraparound artwork there of all the bad guys. And I don't know, I prefer the Japanese box art for this game. I think there's a fake Arnold, there's a budget Jean-Claude Van Damme, and not sure who these guys take after, but this girl kind of looks, Blaze kind of looks like Phoebe Cates a little bit. I don't know where they got their influences from. But yeah, the classic Sega beat 'em up game. This is probably one of the first beat 'em ups I ever remember playing. And because I didn't really get into beat 'em ups until pretty late. Actually, that's a lie. I played a lot of the Konami ones in the arcades, as well as TMNT on NES. But I didn't play this game until pretty late. And when I did, not only was I blown away by the amazing soundtrack that people love, but I thought it was just a really fun game. And I always play as Blaze. That's Bare Knuckle 2. More Sega stuff here. This is a 32X glorified tech demo in a way, but I really love it. This is Tempo. Tempo was a platforming game on the 32X that I wish they would do more with this character. There was Tempo Jr. and there was Super Tempo on Saturn, which is now it's ridiculously expensive. I can never own that, I'm sure. But I think this is it's gameplay wise, it's pretty standard, but there's so much crazy stuff going on. Has great sound. It really shows off the capabilities of the 32X, and I think that's why it's kind of like a tech demo. But yeah, the animation in this game is some of the best I've seen overall generations. It's so smooth. But here you go. Here's the cartridge. Very cute. This is a character that I wish they would do more with, like I said. Sega has so many great IPs they're just sitting on. Here's a volume 6 of their 32X information. Oh, I have those games. Those are just some non-32X games. Alright. And here's the manual. Yeah, great style. Very 90s. Look how cute that is. Tempo. That's all I can say. Next, Chaotix. There you go, or Knuckles Chaotix as it's called abroad. This is featuring Knuckles the Echidna and all these other different little friends of his. This game is usually really expensive here in Japan, but I guess because this is a little bit sun-faded, not that much though. I got this for like about 70, and I've seen this go for 250 used, which is ridiculous. But I'm glad to have it. There's a lot of mixed feelings and mixed thoughts on this game because, you know, it's not really like a standard Sonic game. You do have the speed, but you have a partner system, and there's some weird physics in it. I think this game's really fun, though. Let's take a look at the cartridge itself. Alright, nothing too special. But here's the manual, and look at that glorious... Man, what an art it was to kind of design these manuals. Like, if I was a kid and I had this, I'd look at this every day. Until I inevitably got bored of it. But yeah, there you go. Oh, that's pretty cool too. Well, yeah, Chaotix, glad to get that for a decent price. And here's a game that is pretty cheap still on the 32X. Afterburner Complete. I think I paid like $15 for this. Up until this time, this was the best way to play Afterburner at home. And unless you had an arcade unit, which wasn't that common back then. Unless you were a Saudi Oil Prince. Let's see. This game, I showed Afterburner for Mark III a second ago. This game is, of course, more like the arcade game. It's a very faithful port. It's a lot more difficult than that Master System Mark III version. Kind of cool cover. I kind of dig this dude, but not in that way. And yeah, look at that manual. Amazing. Like I said earlier, I always think of Terminator 2 when I see Afterburner. Old John Connor getting some training in. The last thing I'll show here before we shift to something else that's a little different. It's the Sega Saturn Virtual Gun. And I'm glad to have this in the box. This is look at that yellow trigger over there. I guess this was released probably, this is like Virtual Cop 2 characters, I believe. I might be wrong though. But yeah, always good to have a good light gun in the box, and I think I paid $3 for this, so that's a good find at a local game store. I'll pop this open real quick. It looks like it's not been used at all, so there you go, in one of these egg cart looking things. Alright, that's the gun itself. Actually, I'll pull it out just to make me feel like Dirty Harry.
Here's one for you. Make you feel better like Dirty Harry.
I'll stick with these.
Okay, there you go. Very nice looking gun. Now that I have that cables for my PVM, I can actually play the game, but it's a 9-inch screen, so it's not that fun. And yeah, there's the little manual. Alright, I'm going to clean this up and shift gears over to look at some posters. So, let's look at some posters. Alright, and here are some posters that I got. Some of these are old. This is my poster binder or whatever. But so some of these you might have seen before in other videos. But here, real quick, I got this Otomedius G, or Otomedius Gorgeous poster for the Xbox 360 port. These are all posters that would have been hung up in stores back in the day. These aren't reprints or anything. Originals, and they're all really cheap. So that one I got for like about maybe 12 bucks. Let's see, you've seen these before. These are old. These aren't anything new. But now you can look at some of the posters I have. Alright, here's one that I got too. This is like my favorite game, Genso Suikoden 2. This is a store poster that would have been advertising its December 17th, 98 release. So I'm very happy to have that. It's actually a very thick poster. Still a little bit curled. Here's some cool ones. This is, was it Choko Soku Grandol? Hyper Grandol, I guess is the English title. Really cool game that I think a lot of people already talked about on PS1. And of course, this is like my holy grail poster right here, The Adventure of Little Ralph, one of the actual posters that were used to advertise the game in '99. I'll be talking about Little Ralph stuff very soon, in the process of making a video. Here's a couple of Final Fantasy posters. This one from Aerith. I guess this would be like for the figurines. I had this figurine of Aerith before I had a PlayStation, before I had Final Fantasy VII, and I had a poster of this, an unofficial laminated one from China or Taiwan or somewhere. But I'm super happy to have a real official poster. I love this image. And here's one of Tina, aka Terra, from Final Fantasy VI. I'm not exactly sure what it was advertising, but I'm sure it's probably one of the PS1 releases. Love that Amano artwork. She's looking damn good. Here are a couple more. Lost Odyssey, which is a fantastic, I would say underrated RPG at this point. It was Mistwalker's big Xbox 360 epic role-playing game. I got that game day one when it was released in Japan. Loved it. I need to play it again. Tenerezza, which we saw the PC version earlier. Really cool. And I think this is coming up to the end. There you go. Nanatsukaze no Shima Monogatari. I've shown a few of these things over the past few pickups videos I guess I've done. One of the posters advertising that game. Also something I want to do a video on one day. Still collecting some stuff to kind of make the video more interesting. And actually this Master of Monsters poster was included as a freebie. With this, it was wrapped up in it to protect it. I think the poster looks very nice. Never really got into the series, but I did like the artwork. Especially this gal over here. But yeah, those are some posters that I got. Back to the rest of the stuff. All right, and those were a few of my posters that I got. I've been collecting posters here and there, I guess for the past few years now. And one day, someday, and that day may never come, I'd like to have them all displayed in frames on a nice wall, maybe next to a TV or something. But for now, they're just going to have to be in that binder. Oh well, whatever. All right, so more game stuff. I need to beef up my PC Engine collection, so there's a couple of these games. Galaga 88 from Namcot. This is a pretty cool update to the original Galaga. It has better, I guess, better graphics, updated graphics if you want to put it that way, and it's a little bit different gameplay tweaks. Really fun. This is a game that's super cheap still on the PC Engine, and I always regret not picking it up for under $5 a few years ago, but still got this for under 10. There's the card, and let's take a look at the manual here. The manual's in really good condition, so happy to have that. A lot of times you'll get these PC Engine games, and I don't know what it is, but I guess a lot of kids must have had it. The manuals are very ratty, or you get like a little imprint of this case here, which they usually get sticky. The plastic case gets sticky and just causes all kinds of problems. Alright, next is another Namcot PC Engine HuCard title. This is Genpei Toumaden Kannomaki, I think it's called. Yep. The Second Scroll. And this is the sequel to the original Genpei Toumaden, which once upon a time I kind of talked about in a video. This was released as Samurai Ghost in other markets, and it's Genpei Toumaden, but only the big style, big sprite mode of that game. No overhead or no small, more standard platforming style sections. And I don't think it's a really great game. I think the original is much better. But it is what it is, and I love the character of, I think his name's Taira no Kagekyo, and I appreciate these games for giving inspiration, to put it lightly, to the Getsufumaden development team. But yeah, very nice condition, and this is a game that's still pretty cheap here in Japan. You can get this for under $20, which is nice. And I'm thinking about, I mean, there are a few stinkers in this collection, but I'm thinking about getting all the Namco PC Engine games eventually. And adding to that is one that I've wanted for a long time now, Ordyne. Oh, the manual's coming out over there. Ordyne, a cute shooting game, cute 'em up, as some people might call them, based on an arcade game, just an arcade port. Really fun and just really colorful, and yeah, one of the better Namco games for the PC Engine here in Japan. Didn't come with that little plastic card case, but that's okay. Those things are usually gross. It doesn't have the stain, which is nice. And there you go. I like this game because it's just an overall good package. But it has a shop feature where you can upgrade based on coins you picked up and buy cool things. And look at that, it's just adorable. So yeah, Ordyne. I have quite a few of these Namco PC Engine games, and they're all the good ones. Alright, next one is Moto Rotor 2. This is from Masaya. It's a top-down racing combat game. I think you could do as a standard car, hovercraft, and something more of like a tank. But not really super into these kinds of games. I bought it, I think you know why. If you look at the cover, look at that. And I want to say this it looks like Masamune Shiro's artwork, and this is something that I've wanted for a long time, and I regret not picking it up when it was still under 10. This was under 20, but yeah, it has really cool. I think the graphics are nice and has good music as well. A lot of really nice big sprites of racing gals, and this is a sequel to Moto Rotor 1, which I've never played that game, but I understand that this game is really improved over that one. So if you're into this kind of game, or if you just like games with good cover art, Moto Rotor 2 might be the game for you. I got a few other PC Engine games, but I'm not going to talk about them, but we'll go into Mega CD. Not exactly a Mega CD game, but this is the Ninja Warriors Special CD Sampler with the Zuntata, the in-house Taito band soundtrack. Only 3 tracks, but this was I guess a pre-order or a first print run special bonus for the Ninja Warriors Mega CD game, and I really wanted to get this, and one of the reasons why I was hesitant on buying Ninja Warriors for the longest time was I really wanted to get one with this CD. Thankfully, I bought the game without it for really cheap, and I bought this for really cheap. I think it ran me about 15 bucks. Because usually when you get this, like, it'll be, I guess the game runs $50 now, but with this CD, I've seen it go for as low as 75, but over 100. But with this in the game itself, I think I paid under 50 for the whole package. So nice to have that. Anything with Ninja Warriors is good. Let's look at some Nintendo stuff. This is a Game & Watch, a multi-screen, Mickey and Donald. Oh god, what is this year from? This is from 82. Wow, this is way older than me too. Not way older, slightly older. I got this because, well, you can see there's some scratches on the cover. Didn't come with a box or manual or anything, which is a shame, but I sold all my Game & Watches back in the day, and I just kind of wanted to have one. It's got the battery case. The bottom part is really in nice condition. It's not gross. Some of them are. I think there's supposed to be like a metal rod here that's missing, which is unfortunate, but I'll pop it open. And as you can see, it still works. Game A. Plays Mickey going up these, and then Donald has to kind of, I guess Mickey patches up any sort of leaks in the hose, and Donald is responsible for putting out fires. I got to take off the batteries for this game because I don't know how to turn it off without doing that. There you go. But yeah, good to have a Game & Watch game, since they're just kind of cool. They're a little piece of Nintendo history. The next game here, got a few Famicom games, but this is the only one I'm going to talk about. Takeda Shingen 2, and this game is known as Shingen the Ruler, at least in America. And when I was a kid, I thought that this was the greatest game ever made. And that's the reason why I bought this. Obviously, it's not the greatest game ever made. Maybe subjectively for some people, but objectively, definitely not. I used to watch my dad play this game, and it used to amaze me. I thought it was so realistic, and I thought the battles were so awesome, and it really felt like you were commanding an army. Some of the cutscene graphics too were pretty realistic looking at the time. But it's a strategy game, strategy sim, I guess you would call it. My dad, this is one of the only games that my dad, actually it's the only game my dad didn't let me hold on to when I was a kid. So it was always on display on his computer desk, and it looked so awesome, and his artwork, I love it. And it always looked at, it was like, oh, this is different from the video games I have. This is the next level. And in reality, it's just kind of a standard sim strategy game. Not a bad one. And not really my cup of tea, especially from this era. They're can be a little bit boring trying to play it now, but I just bought this for the nostalgia. And my dad got me into video games as a kid, so just having this. I have the original one, but it's at my parents' house in the States. I inherited that from my father, and it's kind of just cool having the original Japanese. And it's a cheap game, so I figured why not. Here is a great Super Famicom title, Poppin' Twinbee from Konami, my favorite game company. This is obviously much like that Ordyne, a colorful shooting game. This one's vertical scrolling, one of the Twinbee games. And this is like my favorite game in the Twinbee series. I could say that probably with a fair amount of confidence. I think it's a little bit easier than some of them. Maybe that's why I like it. But I've been wanting this game complete in box for a long time now, and my only condition was finding it for under $20, which I did. It's not a really expensive game. You can find it under 20 for pretty easily, but I wanted to find it in the wild, just for, just for the thrill, I guess. I'll take a look at the manual here. It's a little beat up, at least over here, but still in great condition. And there's the cartridge with this little plastic, and I guess some of the warnings for powering your game system on. Really happy to have that. And another Konami game here that I'm really happy to have is Akumajou Dracula XX. This is the Super Famicom, I wouldn't say it's a port, but reimagining of the fantastic PC Engine title. I love the artwork in this version. I think it's better. I think the soundtrack, call me crazy, I think the soundtrack for this game is better than the PC Engine one. Maybe I'm biased towards the Super Famicom sound chip. And the game itself, it's more traditional Castlevania, Akumajou Dracula. So some people might like that over the PC Engine version. I guess, honestly, the PC Engine version is better. But, yeah, this game doesn't have any of that cutscene stuff, which, in my opinion, is kind of a plus. It's more pure game. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I just look at the net. Look at that. Look at it. Richter, Maria, different style of the characters. I'm not a huge fan of like the real anime style, at least with Castlevania. So I kind of dig this art style a little bit better. But I guess in the end of the day, most people consider it a watered down version of Rondo of Blood. But still pretty good. This game is it's actually about the same price as the PC Engine version nowadays, which is kind of shocking. All right, let's take a look at a little bit of PS1 and on games. This is another Little Ralph thing. This is the Adventure of Little Ralph demo edition. This is one of many demos, and pretty soon you'll learn about that if you don't know already from my channel. I'm working on a video, but this is the standard demo. This is actually brand new and sealed. I haven't opened it yet. I'm considering whether I should or not. Yeah, you'll learn about this a little bit more. But this is really cool, and I'll just kind of say real quick that this had a score attack mode, and I think, what were you gonna win in it? Maybe like a pocket station. They had like a contest, and you can upload your score online with a passcode and win some stuff. But like I said, I'll talk about that later. But when I bought this, it came with, the person who sold it to me included, a flyer of the Adventure of Little Ralph, which is actually kind of rare. Something that would advertise its release, talk about the game. It's very neat. Love to see that. And it also had some stickers. I don't know if this was another promotional item or if this was ripped out of like a magazine or something. But Adventure of Little Ralph goods are hard to come by. I'm glad I have these. I'm glad I have that poster and demos, and you'll see a little bit more in that video I talked about. Next, PS1 title that's a bit of an obscure one from Hudson, Kurukuru Marumaru, and this is what would you call it? It's an action driving game. Not really action. It's a learn to drive sim. So you are a new driver. You want to impress a girl, kind of, and you have to go to driving school on this weird island. And I think it's an island. And yeah, it's very tough. It's very strict. You got to follow all the rules. You have to check your lefts, your rights. You have to turn on your blinker. Really neat. Not exactly the most fun game, but I dig the style, and it's just neat having this. I bought this thinking maybe I would like to do a video on it. I have to put some more time into it, but it is pretty difficult. There's a little store sticker of the people who checked it. Here's the disc. Comes with the obi. So a true collector has their obis in place. I don't give a rat's butt about those obis, but nice to have them. Major registration card, fully complete. But yeah, this is a cheap game. One thing about PS1 games is I'm going to be buying a lot more PS1 stuff here and there because some of the games have skyrocketed in price ridiculously. It's the time to get PS1 games for cheap may be coming to an end. Except for RPGs, which are the sports games of Japan. Those are always cheap. Next one is another interesting title for the PS1 from Hudson again. This is b.lu.e Legend of Water. It is if I recall correctly, this is a game that was actually marketed towards girls. I think the PlayStation for Girls campaign. I don't think this game is really girly, but it is a sea simulation adventure game. You play as this girl Maya, and you have a dolphin that is your partner, and you can kind of command your dolphin to do things. I think it's really neat. It's got a cool graphical style. I didn't put too much time into it, but another game where like Kurukuru Marumaru, maybe this would make for a cool video, or if I start doing my more casual recommendation videos, obscure games that are cheap or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I might play through this one and see if I like it enough to do a video. And it's also a very cheap game. There were like some cool water-based games in this era. One of them, of course, is Aquanauts Holiday, a famous or infamous game. I think it was critically panned, at least in EGM magazine when I was a kid. That was from, is it Argonaut or one of those? But yeah, that's b.lu.e. And I got a bunch of other PS1 games, but they're not worth talking about that much. Here's a Sega Saturn game. This is super nostalgia overload for me, but Ryori no Tetsujin Kitchen Stadium Tour, or Iron Chef. This is the infamous Iron Chef game on the Sega Saturn. I don't know why I used the word infamous, but it was something that when I was a young man and I was getting into the Iron Chef show, I saw they had this game for Saturn. This must have been like the late 90s or early 2000s. But I was like, I can't believe there's an Iron Chef game. I really want it, and I never ended up picking it up until now. And it's not really much of a game. It's more of like a, well, let's look at the back. It says it's a multimedia soft TV entertainment. So it's kind of like a digital, it's a 3D kitchen stadium with a lot of information, all the contenders up until this point in 96. There's no Morimoto in this game, so it's before that era. But yeah, it's just a lot of information, a lot of video clips. There's like a quiz. You can tour the stadium and see some of the judges, some of those popular judges that would be on the show. But yeah, it's just really neat if you're a fan of Iron Chef. This is the kind of game to get, but it's not actually it's not really a game. It's kind of like a 3D interactive encyclopedia of the show. So, I don't know, who's your favorite Iron Chef? Mine was always Chef Sakai, the French chef, even though I don't like French food. Alright, I just liked him. Star Gladiator 2 for the Dreamcast, and this is the Nightmare of Bill Stein, not to be confused with Ben Stein. This is a great Capcom fighting game, one of the early Dreamcast titles, so early that I don't think this game uses whatever the Naomi board revisions were. Like a lot of the Capcom games were just Naomi ports. This was the board before, I believe, maybe the same one that Soul Calibur used. That got a really great facelift for Dreamcast. But yeah, I like this series, and I love the characters and the design, and look at that artwork, it's amazing. There's some really cool 2D cutscene images in this game. The 3D graphics, I mean, they're not great for Dreamcast, they're very PS1 looking, but it doesn't really matter. It's a fun game, fun series, and something that I'm surprised Capcom didn't really do more with while it was super popular. If I recall correctly, it's just these two games. The first one, which got a PS1 release, and yeah, Hayato's a popular character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and maybe beyond. I haven't played much after that. But yeah, cool game to have, and it's still pretty cheap. Alright, I'm going to clean this up, and we'll take a look at some Ganbare Goemon stuff and a few other things.
ここで止まって前を右に曲がってさあ集中さあ集中
Okay, and I don't think it would be a complete pickups video from this channel anyway if I didn't have some Ganbare Goemon stuff. And while I did pick up more than what I'm going to show, I think these are the coolest ones, or more interesting things. I know there's a lot of Ganbare Goemon fans out there that like this stuff, so start off with this. And this is an original animation cell with the background from the Ganbare Goemon animation. I haven't watched it yet, but I love this one. It was actually, I think I paid like 20 bucks for this. Had most of the group. I wish this wasn't this guy, and I wish it was Sasuke, but very neat. I got a few of these in the last pickups video. None of them were really that interesting, but once in a while these things will go on sale on Yahoo or Mercari, and I usually would like to pick them up because they're cheap. Not a lot of fans of the Ganbare Goemon animation. Related to the animation is this. It's a card box for the animated show. I have a few of these. I bought a few of these packs loose over the years, and this one's brand new, sealed, so I'm pretty sure there's a whole collection based on the animation, of course. So again, like, it's not the most exciting Ganbare Goemon piece of merchandise, but cool to have this. Looks nice in the collection box that I have. Here's a kind of a dumb one. I'm just going to show one of these, but these are Ganbare Goemon pocket scrolls, and this would have been released in the 80s when Karakuri Tochu was still new and relevant. In the gachapon machines. There was a set of 6, so it came with a sticker with Goemon looking nothing like he does now. Didn't have the established style yet. I'll take a look at the scroll in a second, but I got actually all 6 of these, so there you go. And sometimes I see these things go for a lot of money for some reason, but I end up getting all 6 of them for the price that some people try to charge for one. And they were all brand new looking. And basically what this was is you get these little scrolls, and it's actually a little game. You'd have to choose like 3 different paths, and depending on who you run into or what you run into, the game would change. So you're going to start from these red lines here. See if I can kind of go back. You choose a path. Let me see if you can see that. Choose a path, and then if you run into a guy, I guess you take damage. You get that coin, you get that coin. You go into a store. You try to get 3 of those gate passes, and every time you get to one of those red lines, you have to kind of choose a path and see how you go down. And it's actually pretty long. I'll kind of go through the whole thing real quick here, and I guess you'd get 6 different games for you to play. And if you have all your scrolls at the end, look how long this is. You get to talk to the Lord, and yeah, it's like the ending of the game for real. I guess if you want to put it away, you'd have to kind of use this and scroll it up. That's going to take too long, so I'm just going to put this on to the side. And eventually I'm going to do a Ganbare Goemon collection video, not just the games like last time, but all the stuff that I have, and I think for Goemon fans that would be pretty neat. The next thing I'm going to cheat and count it as one item, but these were fangamer.com merchandise. This website, I'm not paid by them. I've never been paid for anything on this channel, except for my lovely people who support me on Patreon and people who sometimes come to the streams. So thank you. But fangamer.com is a website with a lot of cool gaming goods. It's based in the United States, and thanks to a few people, one of them Heron Nobody, and another guy in here who told me after the fact, but yeah, let me know about this. And they had some pretty cool Goemon merchandise, officially licensed, and we'll take a look at this one. Nice little poster here. It's not official art, but it's official commissioned art. So here's one of, look at that impact, that's awesome. Oh, let's see, it's kind of hard to put this one out here. So there's impact, and there's the gang looking a little different from the usual, but I don't know who the artist was who made this, but I think they did a pretty good job. And we'll take a look at something that's not the most exciting thing, but some Mystical Ninja starring Goemon pins. I say that's how it's labeled on the website. It's Mystical Ninja starring Goemon series. Enamel pin set of the Oedo Outlaws. So pretty cute, pretty neat. Unfortunately, when I got it though, there's a crease already in the package. So thankfully, I don't really care about that stuff too much. There were also some shirts, or a shirt, but I bought 2. I bought one large, and here's a little, I think it's a sticker of Kurobe Cat. I bought an extra large. I'm going to open up the large now because it's the one I can actually wear. Extra large I bought just in case I ever want to display it on a wall or something, or let myself go even further. But let's open this up and see what the shirt is. It should be the first boss of the Mystical Ninja game. Again, like pretty cool commissioned art. Oh, that sticker just fell down over here. Yeah, it is indeed a sticker. That's pretty cute. Alright, I don't know if I'm going to ever use it, but this is the shirt with the Ghost Woman of the Temple, the first boss, and some of those yokai. So actually, there you go. Karakasa Obake is on here too. That's actually the first time I saw a yokai. I think it's probably Mystical Ninja for the Super Nintendo. That is pretty cool. So maybe I'll wear that someday, if we can ever go to a convention again. I'll just wear it out in the public. I don't really care. The main thing that I got, I wanted to get these Fangamer goods for though, was this, which is the Legend of the Mystical Ninja soundtrack on vinyl. And this is probably my third favorite game of all time. It's the game that introduced me to the Mystical Ninja Goemon series. and I love it. The soundtrack is one of the best. This is my favorite game in the series. I thought that I missed out on this because another company, I guess the company that makes this, Ship to Shore Media, it sold out like on its first day when it came out, and I thought it was all. I thought I'd have to pay somebody who was selling it secondhand or scalping, but thankfully I was able to pick it up on Fangamer. And got my little Jimmy knife here. I haven't opened it up yet, but I think we'll do it here. I will carefully open it up. Hopefully I can carefully open it up. Got that open. So let's take a look. I know that there were two different versions of the records themselves. Let's actually pop this whole thing open. I think one was a silver color and one was like a limited edition color, like red and white, like just like this cover here. And this looks like it's the red and white version. That's cool. Looked a little bit nicer than the silver one. I would have preferred just regular black, honestly. I think they last longer too, but I don't know anything about records. Oh, here you go. Here's a nice red one. Oh wow, it's pretty nice. I picked up a record player in recent months and got to listen to that awesome Rocket Knight Adventures one that the Happy Console Gamer sent me. And some other records. And I'm going to enjoy listening to this one. Let's take a look at the other record as well. Let's see. I'm going to pull it out without ruining it too much. Oh, looks like it's blue. Alright, yeah, cool. Red and blue. That's cool. I think that's actually a different design from the ones I've seen. I've seen silver and I've seen like red and white. So now I have one red and one blue. So I'm sure I'm going to love listening to this. I've recently become a hipster and I've been enjoying some records for once. I'm kicking myself for not picking up more game soundtracks in the past. Alright, and I think the last thing we'll do before we shift gears and clean up this crap. Actually, you know what? I might have to move it to the side right now. 1 second. Okay, load it itself. This standpoint here has stuff that's garbage and cards in the corner. You know, and I forgot to turn on my my lights here, so it's a little dark. Sorry about that. This is a promotional fan, obviously for the Nintendo 64. It's a Yanakia dame da yo. Natsu nan dakara. So I guess you can't not do it. It's summer. So I guess what it'd be. This is advertising the Rumble versions of Mario 64 and Wave Race 64. And this is Ryoko Hirosue, who I had the hugest crush on her when I was in high school. Maybe even junior high school. Kind of looks like a boy. I guess that's what I kind of was into. Maybe still am. So that's a cool little promotional fan that I got for a couple bucks. But it's kind of leading into a few of these big ones. So first thing I'll show real quick, related to that, is the Clear Blue Nintendo 64. So I got this for really cheap, and you'll see it doesn't come with a manual, but big deal. The box is in really nice shape, and while there is a little bit of color fading or color change on the system itself, it's not that bad. They all kind of end up yellowing. It's an unfortunate part of this, but really good shape. And I got this too for cheap, but one of the cool things was it included the high-res pack, and these things usually go for 20 to 30 by themselves loose, so that was actually a pretty good deal. I got the console for almost the same price as I'd pay for that. And a little controller here, somebody put a sticker on it. No manual, but that's okay, because you'll see. And a little adapter. So that's, I think this is a Japanese exclusive color. They're fairly common though here. And pop this over here. What I also got was, for very cheap as well, the standard Nintendo 64. And I had an N64, much like the Mark III that I showed earlier. I got this for the box, and I ended up selling the system itself because I just replaced it with my RGB modded N64. Yeah, so I just wanted the box, really. And I bought this game system with a bunch of games and some controllers, and I ended up just selling those extra parts in the console, and made up for what I paid for the whole set. Here's the manual, nothing special. This would have been at what? The store over there. Let me move this out of the way, and I'll show one more thing related to all these other things I've been showing. And alright, Alright, last thing before we shift gears is, oh look, it's another N64, and it's in a really beat up box. Okay, well it's all nasty looking over there. Well, that's weird. Why would I get this when I have a nice box now with my RGB modded N64? Well, much like a lot of things in life, it's not on the outside, it's what's inside that counts. And, okay, well, you don't see it yet. Manual here. Ta-da! So this is the all Nippon Airways edition of the Nintendo 64. The box and everything is beat up, but the system itself and all the extra components are in great shape. So this is just a normal Nintendo 64. Here is the license number, or the serial number. This series over here. Well, what I'm holding here is probably the most rare model of the Nintendo 64 in Japan. It's really nothing special, but there's a lot of people who've talked about this already. But all Nippon Airways, ANA, had a brief campaign where people who'd fly on the airplanes would get randomly chosen to win an N64, and this was it. The only thing that's really different is that the memory expansion cover has the ANA logo on it, and that's really it. I think these also came with Pokemon Snap, well actually Hey You Pikachu, the Japanese version, and like Pokemon Stadium 2, or maybe 1, which I also came with this set, and a bunch of games and a bunch of controllers. I ended up selling all those and basically making up for the price that I paid for this. I didn't pay much for this at all, even with all those games, and this is a super rare console. Like I said, it's not super special, but if you're into that kind of thing, it's neat to have. I think there's estimated that only about 2,000 of these were produced. So even though it doesn't look like much, it's a rare gaming item. I'm tempted to sell this on eBay or somewhere, just because I'm pretty sure it would go for quite a bit. But for now, I'm happy just having it. Let me move this out of the way. And here is another console that I got. I mentioned it earlier when I talked about Tenerezza, but it's an Xbox console. And it came with all the hookups, obviously. I got a bunch of controllers for this system. Oh man, this thing is heavy too. This one was modified. Drives, had a hard drive put into it. I guess the disk drive has been changed out, and that was my main concern. But it also has is it Evo X, so I can actually, you can do a lot of other things with it that are legally gray, and I don't think anybody really cares. But I got it so I can actually just put my discs into the hard drive, so I don't have to worry about hard drive disk drive failure. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm happy to have this. I put all my Xbox games in there, the ones that actually worked, and it's very nice to have this. I love the Xbox. It was the first system that I bought day one. First and only, maybe. Almost got Dreamcast day one, but I had to negotiate that. But yeah, I really love this system, and I've had such a blast playing a lot of the old classics that I haven't played for in years, and it was definitely my favorite system of that generation. I got a few other Xbox games to go with it. The only ones I'll show here, though, are the following. House of the Dead 3, awesome Sega sequel to House of the Dead 2, which is a tough act to follow. This is not quite as iconic as that game, but it is pretty awesome. It's you can play it with the analog stick, and it's not that bad. But it would be cool to get a light gun and play this through with that. And I believe this is G, so getting old, G. Not a lot of bloodstains. Yeah, I thought I had this game for the longest time, but I realized I did not, so I ended up picking this up, and it was like under $10. And the spine is in nice condition, so not super faded. Like a lot of these Xbox games just seem to have sat on shelves in the game stores, so a lot of them have really faded spines. You'll see one in a second. This is Crimson Skies, a great Xbox original title from Microsoft Studios. It's a futuristic, or is it alternate history? I'm not really sure, but you have an airplane, you're a fighter pilot, but it's not just levels, it's kind of an open world and has missions, and it's exhilarating, it's thrilling, and really great. And I'm sad that they never really did anything else with this. It was a pretty big deal back then too. You would have thought that they would have maybe even done something with the Xbox 360, but alas, they did not. And I remember playing this game and really wanting it, but I think I might have went to college when it came out, and I kind of fell out of the Xbox. I brought the PS2 and the NES with me. But that's really great, and I'm hoping to play through the entire game now. Here's a game that I bought. Surprisingly, I've had my eye on this for a long time now. But this is Umezawa Yukari's Ego Seminar. And so this is an Ego game, Japanese. It's actually originally a Chinese game, but it's real popular in Japan still. Kind of like chess. It looks like Othello, but it's chess-ish, kind of. Well, not really. It's hard to explain. It's a classic board game. But yeah, this is a game. This is a real game on the Xbox, and it's not really, well, it is a game, but it's a tutorial. It's a seminar. So this gal over here, I think her last name's different now, but she was a pretty popular Ego player, and I think she also helped with Hikaru no Go, which is a manga, like a supervisor for that. But a really good player here in Japan, and she was very cute, so obviously made her very popular. Here's that spine discoloration that you can see. This is actually an uncommon title here in Japan. I got it for cheap, but sometimes I see this go for stupid prices. But all it is you get some video tutorials. She teaches you how to play the game, teaches you some techniques, gives you some advice. Then you can play against her and change your level. If you don't know how to play the game very well, like me, they'll give you hints, show you what the best move would be. And then as you play, she kind of ranks your performance. So it's really not it's not exactly the coolest game to get on Xbox, but I love that it was an actual thing. Look here too. These are a bunch of different. There's Othello and there's Shogi, whatever. Success did a series of these on the Xbox. But yeah, I don't know. I think she's kind of cute too. So it's always good to have that cute girl game on the Xbox. And here is Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 for the Xbox, which when I was playing Phantasy Star Online back then, aside from the Dreamcast, this is the main way I played it. I played GameCube with friends at their houses, but online I played Xbox, and I got Xbox Live specifically to play this game. Waited in anticipation for a little while until it was released. I love this game. This is actually the beta edition, so you can see here. And so it makes it a little bit different, a little special. Still very cheap. I think this was under $5, and the actual game itself is under 10. Without going through some weird steps, these games can't even be played on Xbox, even offline, because they needed an Xbox Live account. But sadly, this game, the disc doesn't work. So I just bought it as a novelty anyway, but I wish the disc did work. Here's a Wii game with the DVD case boxes. Hoshino Kirby Wii, so the Wii version of the Kirby. And I didn't have the English version of this, and I've been waiting for the Japanese version to get cheaper. I got this, I think, for like $11. Wii games are super cheap now, except for one in particular. But now is the time to buy Wii games. Now is the time to buy PS2 games. Xbox games have always been cheap. Xbox. Sorry, my pronunciation here. But yeah, this is a really fun game. It's Kirby. It's not difficult, it's not hard, but it's cute and it's well made. Yeah, Kirby for Wii. And the last Wii thing I'll look at here is Biohazard: The Dark Side Chronicles, which is a really cool. I guess it has some prequel-ish things to Resident Evil 4, but Umbrella Chronicles was the first, and this is Dark Side. You use the Wiimote to play and shoot the game. Yeah, like I said, a pretty cool game, and when it came out, it made quite an impact for Wii users and Resident Evil fans. But people kind of forgot about it seems. This is the limited edition version. What was it called? The collector's package. So we'll just take a look at the standard game itself. That is pretty badass. This is all about Leon. You get to play with Krauser as well, which is kind of cool. And also Claire. So the Resident Evil 2 heroes. It's kind of focused on them. The Dark Side Report. And they came with this, which is a CD and a DVD. And let's take a look. So one CD and one DVD with I don't know, I haven't popped in the DVD yet, but it looks like there's promotional videos for some of the Biohazard games and probably some features. But yeah, nice to have this, and like I said, now is the time to get Wii games, because I paid, I think, $6 for that. Alright, coming to the end of this video, and here are just a few miscellaneous junk items that I want to show real quick. Well, this is not really that junk, but it's just a peach colored Wii U remote. These are cheap now, so I ended up getting one. Wii Motion Plus. Figured why not? Might as well get all the character ones. It is used, but it's actually in pretty good condition. Not gunky and funky like you see a lot of these remote controls for the Wii. And it came with a little menu. Nothing special. So, now I can play Wii games like the princess I am. And here's a Valkyrie metal figure. This is a Wonderfest figure festival convention limited edition from Aurora model, I believe. They're metal figurines. They're not going to be painted like this. It's brand new. I haven't opened it yet. But they would be like little silver figurines, kind of like what would be like Warhammer, those kind of figures. So you could paint them yourself and make them look nice. If I did it, it wouldn't look that nice for sure. But cool to have. Anything with Valkyrie, I'm a big fan of. Here is a Chrono Trigger music piano book, I guess. I don't play the piano, but I do collect some of these music books here and there. And I just thought it would be kind of neat, and this was under 10 bucks. So why not? I think they still publish these. This is what revision of this is this? Alright, sorry about that. This is the, oh my god, this is the 29th printing of this. So they've been making these for a long time. It's great music, so it stands the test of time, I'm sure. And here are a couple of goofy things related to music and Square. Final Fantasy VII music boxes. And over the past couple years, there's been a lot of these music box things. I have a few, like 4 for like the Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross games that were released at concerts. I think Octopath, Xenogears had one. But yeah, I bought this at a store. Obviously, because the Final Fantasy VII remake is a thing. So we'll play one. It's a very short loop of the songs, but. And that's how it would loop. So I'll just keep that playing in the background. Oh, perfect. It just stopped. I thought they were really cool. I'll just take a look at this one. We don't have to play it. That's the main theme of Final Fantasy VII. Great music, great soundtrack. Not my favorite in the series, but it's up there for sure. And more Square Enix crap. This is a coaster holder, which I got because I've gone to the Square Enix cafe and I got actually a few of these coasters. This one I did not get from a cafe. This was the, I think the Tokyo Skytree Limited Cafe that I didn't end up going to, but some of my friends did. I'm sad I didn't get to go, but that was something new. Figured I'd get this coaster holder just because I have so many of these now. Had a few of the Octopath ones. This is one I actually bought online for cheap. I got this actually at the cafe itself when it was new. I got this Nier one of Kaine. And a couple of these, mostly because of Tina Terra and Ramza, some Dissidia, and yeah, that's it. So I don't know. I thought it would be nice to have a little official container. You can kind of sit it down and display your coasters too if you needed to. I probably will not do that. And the last bit, more useless crap. I'll take out my binder here of phone cards, and place this right here. It's pretty heavy. I got a lot of weird stuff in here. I got some phone cards. Tenerezza, some Kasumi from Dead or Alive, and the last one you'll see. Let's place it here because I got some other weird ones in here. Ghost in the Shell, and that's actually my favorite image of Motoko Kusanagi. So yeah, just some phone cards, and that's about it for this pickups video. I didn't get to show everything, but I did my best. Hopefully there's not too much problems with the autofocus. I might have to just use my phone from here on out, or when I get my nice camera eventually, that'll be the main thing. Hopefully autofocus doesn't suck on that. But I think this year, last year I bought a lot of game stuff, more than usual. This year I'm going to cut it down, and there might not be any pickups videos this year. I don't know. I'm going to focus instead on collection videos, so collections of things I already have, like here's all my Tactics Ogre and Ogre Battle series things, and here's Suikoden stuff, and here's Goemon books and figurines and whatever. So probably expect a few of those things. I kind of don't want to do them because of the camera situation. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to do those instead of just pickups, and I gotta really save more money. But anyways, thank you for watching, and yeah, until the next collection or pickups video or whatever, take care. Alright, is everybody gone? Okay, good. Now I can show you the best pickup I got. Oh yeah, check it out. Jesse Ventura, man of action. Look at that. Oh, there he is, right there. The governor of Minnesota, U.S. Navy SEAL, and volunteer football coach. So different ones here, but I got the best one, I think. The governor. Let's open it up real quick. Pop this over here. Alright. There you go. In the suit and a death stare over there. And so now that I have this, I can reenact all my favorite Jesse Ventura scenes. All of his quotes over the years. I'm gonna just go have a little play session with you now. Hi there, it's me, Jesse Ventura. I was a former Navy SEAL and the 38th governor of Minnesota. Check me out on RT America, where I host my own show, The World According to Jesse. Read one of my books too. When I became governor, I wrote a book, Ain't Got Time to Bleed. Or, how about Do I Stand Alone? If you don't, I think you're just a slack-jawed fat